Anvils rang in Redditch, monsoons drummed in Madras. Between them, a heartbeat thump-thump that refused to die. From police escorts of army convoys to cafe lanes and high passes, an old aim found a new pulse, and the world heard it. Today, at Curious Minds, we ride with Royal Enfield born British, reborn Indian, an underdog that went from near extinction to global cult, proving that simple, soulful motorcycling still wins hearts. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a really thrilling journey through the fascinating history and remarkable resurgence of Royal Enfield. It's a brand that just embodies resilience and passion too. You've sent us some incredible articles and notes, and we're excited to unpack the key insights, maybe some surprising facts hidden within this, century-old legacy. What initially jumps out at you when we start digging into this remarkable story?
Well, what's truly fascinating here, I think, is that Royal Enfield isn't just, another motorcycle manufacturer. It's a living legacy. It proudly holds the title of the longest-running motorcycle brand in continuous production. That's quite something. Our deep dive today, I hope, will reveal how that incredible heritage was almost lost and then deliberately, passionately rebuilt, really from the ground up.
Okay, let's unpack this journey then, starting right at the beginning, back in England. The Enfield Cycle Company, founded way back in 1901, they actually began making bicycles and arms, weapons. Their early slogan, made like a gun, it wasn't just catchy, was it? It really hinted at that precision, that durability that would kind of define them.
Exactly. Yeah, precision engineering. They built military bikes, lots of utilitarian machines, and pretty quickly established the Bullet model as, a legend. The Bullet itself, that was unveiled in 1932. Initially, you could get it in 250, 350, and 500cc versions. And its early design, was quite advanced for the time. They introduced some revolutionary features, think like a 4-valve cylinder head, a 4-speed foot change gearbox. And then in 1948, this is a big one, swinging arm rear suspension. That was a crucial upgrade. It allowed the rear wheel to move up and down independently. It drastically improved ride comfort, handling, and it was a first for full production use. Really influenced other manufacturers globally.
Right. Okay, now, this is where this story takes a really pivotal turn, isn't it? The 1950s. The Indian Army, they're looking for a robust Border Patrol motorcycle.
Yeah.
And they placed this significant order, 800 units of the iconic Bullet 350. And that decision basically set in motion the local assembly of bullets in Madras, which is now Chennai, starting in 1955.
Indeed, yeah. And the British operation of Royal Enfield, it eventually folded in the 1970s, just couldn't sustain itself. But the Indian subsidiary, they kept the flame not just flickering, but vigorously alive. The brand didn't simply move to India essentially became its lifeline. By 1962, all the components for the Bullet were actually being made within India, and Enfield India just kept producing that 1955 Bullet design pretty much unchanged for decades.
So it wasn't just about production, it was preservation, really. The British passport for Royal Enfield might have expired, but its essential sound, its soul, it refused to die, all thanks to India. But, even a living legacy can face hard times. Fast forward a few decades, and that distinctive pulse, that thump-thump of Royal Enfield, it was starting to fade. By the 90s, early 2000s, the brand was facing some pretty severe challenges.
Oh, absolutely. The bikes were charming. Yes, you can't deny that. But they were increasingly outdated. They developed this reputation for leaky gaskets, stubborn kicks to get them started. And yeah, they were often jokingly called an old man's bike. Sales volumes were tiny and reliability just wasn't stellar. You see, the protectionist nature of the Indian economy had kind of paradoxically shielded Royal Enfield from competition for a long time. So there wasn't much incentive to improve. But then came economic liberalization, and suddenly you had these nimble Japanese motorbikes flooding the market. Superior, more economical 100cc engines. And it just caused a sales spiral for Royal Enfield, really exposed how far they'd fallen behind.
It's truly astonishing when you think about it, isn't it? This military workhorse, this symbol of reliability, dwindling to just a niche curiosity, basically teetering on the edge of bankruptcy. But this really begs the question then. If sales were so tiny, if they were such a small fish in what was becoming the largest motorcycle market globally, producing only about 100,000 bullets a year by 2012, mostly for the Indian domestic market, how did a brand survive when its core product was seen as, frankly, antiquated and its future looked so bleak?
That's the critical challenge right there. It took a bold vision, an audacious vision, you might even say, to turn this whole thing around.
And that vision, it came from a bit of an unlikely hero, Siddhartha Lal, the CEO of Eicher Motors. Eicher Motors acquired Royal Enfield back in 1994, and by 2001, Siddhartha Lal, who was just 26 years old then, took charge. And he didn't just see a struggling company, he saw a brand with incredible potential. And it seems his own deep passion for motorcycling really fueled that.
He made a really big bet, an incredibly daring move, actually. He sold off other divisions of Eicher Motors to go, like 100% all in on motorcycles, just motorcycles. And his strategy was brilliant, really, in its simplicity. Focused squarely on the mid-weight sweet spot. That meant building accessible, characterful bikes, generally in that 250, 750cc range. Bikes that offered a great balance of power, usability, and importantly, affordability for a really broad market.
So a really daring move then, focusing on that accessible middle ground,
Okay.
aiming for, what, smiles per mile rather than just top-tier specs on a sheet. What did that actually mean in practical terms? Where did they put the investment?
Well, it meant trimming distractions, obviously, and crucially, investing heavily in engineering and design. Real money. They acquired a UK company, Harris Performance Products, known for developing these high-performance chassis. That was a key move. And they established a UK technology center at Bruntingthorpe Proving Ground, sort of an R&D hub outside India. This showed a profound commitment to modernize, but, and this is key, while meticulously retaining the bike's essential feel, that soul. The focus was on simplicity, durability, customization, and building community. Lal, he understood that knowledge is most valuable when it's actually understood and applied. He transformed the engineering, the manufacturing processes, moving from what people described as a dirty and dark old factory to these brightly lit modern assembly lines, using advanced CNC machines for precision parts, robotic painting for consistent quality. And this modernization also included the seminal unit construction engine, the UCE, introduced around 2008. The UCE was a major step forward. It integrated the gearbox and crankcase into a single unit, made the engine much more robust, significantly less prone to oil leaks. That was a huge reliability upgrade, a bit like, what Harley-Davidson's Evo engine did for them years earlier. Solved a major pain point.
Right, okay. So this focus then on modernizing but keeping the soul.
Yeah.
It led to this cascade of new and reimagined models that really captured global attention.
Absolutely. Royal Enfield began to dramatically expand its offerings, moving beyond just the 350 and 500cc Bullet and Classic models, which had been, its mainstays in India forever. And those classic models themselves, they received modern hearts, became much more reliable, more approachable. The Bullet 350 and Classic 350, they continue that legacy today. The Bullet 350 even got a next-generation launch just last year, September 2023. Retains its iconic looks, but with totally contemporary engineering underneath.
And for the younger demographic, you mentioned they introduced bikes like the Meteor 350 that replaced the old Thunderbird 350, right? And the Hunter 350 in 2022. And these quickly became like youth magnets, easy city agility.
Exactly. Youth magnets is a good way to put it. The Hunter 350, for instance, became their second highest-selling motorcycle within a month of launch. Just flew off the shelves, shows they could attract new riders. And the Meteor 350 also notably introduced Royal Enfield's Tripper navigation system, just a small turn-by-turn display, but a significant nod to modern tech integration.
But the real international game changer, you're saying, was the introduction of the 650 twins back in 2018. The Interceptor 650, or INT 650 in North America, because of a Honda trademark, right? And the Continental GT 650.
Yeah, those were the ones. These parallel twins, they offered this affordable big bike vibe, very similar actually to Triumph's retro playbook, but crucially at about half the price of comparable bikes from brands like Triumph or Ducati. Reviewers just couldn't believe how refined they were and how fun and affordable. It was the whole package.
That's such a powerful statement, isn't it? To go from that old man's bike reputation to reviews just astounded by refinement, fun, and affordability. What specifically beyond just the price point do you think made the 650 twins such a breakout success globally? What clicked?
Well, beyond the sheer value for money, which was undeniable, it was that blend. Authentic retro styling, but with genuinely modern performance and reliability. That UCE engine foundation helped massively there. The Interceptor particularly, it just resonated deeply. It won Motorcycle News' Retro Bike of the Year awards several years running, and it actually became the best-selling motorcycle of any kind in Great Britain in 2021. That's huge. And they've since expanded that 650 category, haven't they? Models like the Super Meteor 650, that's their 648cc air-cooled cruiser, and the Shotgun 650, which offers more of a power cruiser, neo-custom kind of swagger. And we're also seeing bikes like the Scram 411 and its upcoming replacement, apparently the Scram 440. These are sort of adventure-styled bikes, lighter off-road use, city agility, providing that factory-ready fun for the custom scene, diverse riding styles, giving people options straight out of the box.
Okay, but Royal Enfield didn't just look to the past for inspiration, did they? They clearly listened intently to their riders, innovated for specific needs. Case in point, the Himalayan.
Absolutely. Riders in India, for years, had been extensively modifying Bullets. often fabricating their own solutions, really hacking them together to tackle the incredibly challenging terrain of the Himalayas. So Royal Enfield's response, which was brilliant, was the purpose-built Himalayan, designed by the legendary Pierre Terblanche, no less, and launched in 2016. It was built from the ground up specifically to solve a real rider problem. What do you need to actually ride there?
Yeah, this was a motorcycle designed for genuine adventure. You see it in the specs. Long travel suspension to soak up bumps, simple ergonomics for comfort on really long rides, luggage-friendly features built in. It looks and feels truly capable of tackling everything from those demanding Ladakh passes to, well, global trails anywhere. Not a diva, as someone put it. More like a reliable mountain mule with a passport. Adventure isn't just a brochure picture, right? It's a toolkit. And this bike was designed to be exactly that toolkit.
Right. And the latest iteration, the Himalayan 450, launched in 2023. That marks a really significant leap forward. It's Royal Enfield's first liquid-cooled engine ever, boasting this modern Sherpa 450 engine. So what does liquid-cooled mean? Basically, a closed-loop cooling system using liquid like a car to maintain optimal engine temperature, vastly improves performance, efficiency, especially in tough conditions. It also features ride-by-wire throttle that's precise electronic control of power delivery, much smoother. A crisp TFT display, modern, full-color digital screen for all your info. Switchable ride modes, allowing riders to adapt power, traction control for different conditions. Rain, road, off-road maybe. And ABS, of course, the anti-lock braking system for safer controlled stops. These were features just unthinkable on a Royal Enfield even a decade prior. And crucially, it still costs less than 6,000 USNs. Makes it genuinely competitive with entry-level adventure bikes from, say, KTM or CF Moto, and offers similar horsepower, apparently, to the new Triumph 400 engine.
So it sounds like Royal Enfield didn't just build bikes. They built a whole movement, especially tapping into a new generation of riders, both in India and beyond.
Yeah, exactly. Once seen as that uncle's bike, it truly became a rite of passage for a whole new generation. And this transformation, it was deeply driven by fostering a real sense of community and providing almost endless opportunities for customization. The bike's inherent simplicity, the accessible engineering, it just lends itself incredibly well to personalization. People change everything, big bore kits for more power, exhaust pipes, seats, paint, creating this tunable canvas for identity on wheels.
Yeah, and they launched these massive events too, didn't they? Like Rider Mania in India, a 3-day festival, motorcycles and music attracting thousands. And globally, there's One Ride, a single-day event in over 50 countries where owners just ride together. Reinforces that global community feeling.
They even created Royal Enfield Custom World, actively supporting builders, artists, and creating these wild one-off machines, bobbers, cafe racers, you name it. And that iconic rhythmic engine beat, that distinctive thump, it became a cherished signature, didn't it? Not a stereotype anymore. This focus on the look, sound, and feel really resonates. It's much like Harley-Davidson's approach, in a way, creating a story people genuinely want to be a part of.
And they even went racing, launching the GT Cup, a Steck series based on the Continental GT, and supported record attempts at the Bonneville Salt Flats. That made racing seem accessible and further established those 650s as a modern dream. They even supported programs like Build Train Race, specifically for women racers and builders. And the results, well, they really do speak for themselves. Royal Enfield is now giving the established giants a real run for their money on the global stage.
Oh, absolutely. Royal Enfield has, almost quietly, taken over certain segments of the motorcycling world. The growth has been truly staggering. Think about it. From about 100,000 units back in 2012, they sold 920,000 motorcycles in 2023. That's a 9-fold increase in just over a decade. And more recently, they've surpassed selling 1 million motorcycles in a single year, with projections for continued growth, too. It's phenomenal.
They even surpassed Harley-Davidson in global sales back in 2015, and now sold in over 60 countries, with direct distribution subsidiaries like Royal Enfield North America, headquartered in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, right in Harley's backyard. Talk about friendly rivalry, perhaps?
Yeah, maybe. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, while rivals like Harley-Davidson, Triumph, KTM, they often focus on higher-priced, higher-spec margins, right? The expensive stuff. Royal Enfield just carved out this clear lane, middleweight fun over superbike arms races. Their bikes are frequently described as being not the fastest on paper, it's the fastest to your heart. You hear that a lot. And often half the price of aspirational badges, those brands that carry a higher premium just for the name, the reputation. It's a stark contrast to many brands focusing only on smaller, higher-margin bikes or maybe struggling with aging demographics.
And they built this full stable now for real-world riding, from street-naked bikes to cafe racers, power cruisers, adventure tours, expanding their reach globally from that super strong home market in India. Okay, but while the comeback story is incredible, it's not a fairy tale without its challenges, right? Royal Enfield has faced, and probably continues to face, some growing pains.
Absolutely, yeah. That's inevitable for any growing manufacturer. Quality stumbles, recalls, emissions transitions are a huge part of the journey now. For instance, the original 500cc cast iron engine that was discontinued in India because of the BS6 emission norms, those are the strict new environmental standards, Haret Stage 6. Similarly, the older lean burn 500cc engine that was phased out due to European emission specifications, they just couldn't meet the newer, tougher standards. But these challenges seem to have been faced pretty head-on. There's ongoing refinement, adding ABS as standard, EFI electronic fuel injection for more precise fuel delivery and better emissions. Using better metallurgy for stronger components, modern electronics like balancer shafts in some engines to allow higher RPMs without uncomfortable vibrations, and that precise liquid cooling we saw in the new Himalayan.
Which raises that important question, doesn't it?
Mm.
How do you continually innovate, modernize,
Mhm.
without losing the very soul, that distinctive character that made the brand beloved in the first place?
That's the tightrope walk, isn't it? And they are already looking at the next frontiers. Safety advancements, sustainability, and perhaps even electric motorcycles. We've seen the announced Flea EV concept model, and there are rumors, strong rumors, of an upcoming Himalayan 750 or maybe a Bear 650, bigger adventure bikes. The challenge will be, can they hum without losing the Thump spirit? Can they ensure that authentic look, sound, and feel remain central while integrating all these necessary technical advancements?
So looking back at this whole incredible journey then, what were the fundamental pillars? What really enabled Royal Enfield's stunning turnaround and this global expansion? What was the secret sauce?
Well, I think their success is built on several really key pillars. First, a clear lane. They focused laser-like on that middleweight fun rather than chasing the superbike arms race. Smart move. Second, a strong design language, offering those classic forms but with modern guts. Remember the UCE we talked about? Or the liquid-cooled Himalayan. Modern tech wrapped in authentic styling. They even apparently went so far as to retain extra cylinder head weight in some models just for the right look. That shows dedication to preserving the visual heritage while modernizing the mechanics. And this also extends to innovative manufacturing, like having suppliers locate right next to their plants to cut shipping and inventory costs. Very efficient. Third, community first, building that strong global community through accessibility, a robust service network, and those engaging events like Rider Mania and One Ride. The focus is on creating a story people want to be part of, fostering a powerful self-image for the rider. And fourth, you can't ignore India's moment, leveraging India's immense manufacturing scale and that passionate home market, which became the perfect launchpad for global expansion.
And finally, you have to mention leadership, right? Siddhartha Lal's unwavering passion for motorcycling, his clear vision to expand globally, as he articulated way back in 2008. We have low-cost manufacturing, we have a heritage you cannot buy off the shelf, we have a name you cannot buy off the shelf. Over the next 15 to 20 years, you'll see more specific bikes for the US and Europe and other bikes for India. Pretty prescient. From escorting prime ministers to escorting your weekend ride, from obscurity to ubiquity, one deliberate gear change at a time. It's not just about building bikes, is it? It's about creating a story that people want to be a part of. The bikes offer that legitimate heritage. They're undeniably good-looking, solidly built now, reliable and affordable, and often still hand-pinstriped. Maintaining that human touch amidst all the modern manufacturing like robotic painting.
Yeah, Royal Enfield really reminds us that genuine connection, authenticity, and a clear, unwavering vision can propel a brand from the absolute brink of extinction to global prominence. They've truly evolved, haven't they? From being seen as just a retro brand to becoming a genuine competitor across multiple motorcycle categories, proving that sometimes slow and steady truly does win the race.
A brand that honestly should have been just a footnote in history became a headline, not by shouting the loudest, but by thumping steady human, unmistakable. They never forgot what made people love them in the first place. Royal Enfield proved that you don't need the most horsepower or the absolute most cutting-edge tech to capture hearts worldwide. You just need a compelling story, a commitment to quality, and, well, a ride that feels right. What will you choose to invest your passion in? Thank you for being on this trip with us. Stay curious, stay grounded, and stay tuned for the next one.